Kitchen Republic Library, and today we're going to use our paper mache to make a little sculpture. So you're going to need some scrap paper, some masking tape, or you could use tin foil, and then we're going to cover that with paper mache and let it dry. So I'm going to show you how to make a little bird. Feel free to make whatever you like. You can just watch the instructions, then try your own. So if you want to make a monster, a dinosaur, anything you're interested in making, a lizard, it will all be fun. So I'm going to turn the camera down so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to be using, I think, about a cup of the Celluclay with a cup of water. If this is your first time, if you haven't seen how to do this, you can watch any of the first two videos in the series to see how to mix it. But this time we're going to jump right to making our aperture and then our little sculpture. Okay, so I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so we're going to take some simple shapes. I'm going to make a round, sort of mid-sized ball for the bird's body, its stomach. I'm going to make a small one with a slightly smaller scrap of paper for the head. I'm going to use some masking tape to attach those two together, and it'll also help me create like a more controlled shape. And then I'm going to use another small shape that I'm going to make more into a rectangle for the tail. So you can just keep turning it around, adjusting it, and looking at the shapes that you've made till you get whatever kind of animal or creature or design you want to make. So you can make these as small or as large as you want. I'm doing mine fairly, like sort of about 3 or 4 inches, and I'm just kind of pushing it around and using the tape to make a bird shape. And remember, this is sculpture, so turn it around and look at it from top, sides, and bottom. So I want my bird to be able to stand. So I'm also, as I'm finishing working on it, I'm pressing it down and making kind of a base for the bottom. Now I think the tail and the head were out of proportion. The body was a little bit too small. So don't be afraid to just rip up some more paper, add some more tape, and keep playing around with it till you get a shape. Just a simple bird shape. So that sort of round body, small round head, and kind of a rectangular tail. So a really simple bird shape that can stand. So I'm also using my tape just to make a little triangle beak that I'm just going to add. You could do that with paper, or you could do it with paper mache, but I just thought I'd add a little beak. And this is kind of my finished shape, so just a simple shape. So I'm also going to make the bird using tin foil, which is a light, easy to manipulate material, and I'm going to cover it with paper mache just to try out a couple different techniques. So you can use either the paper and masking tape, or you could use tin foil. As with the paper and the masking tape, I'm going to use a couple sheets of tin foil to make a larger shape for the body and the tail, and a small one for the head. You can attach these using little strips of other tin foil, and if that's not going to stick, feel free to add also a little bit of masking tape, which I'm going to use because my head keeps falling off, just to connect those shapes. And it also, you could cover more of the tin foil to make the paper mache stick. So I'm going to take both my shapes. We're going to start with the paper and the masking tape, and I've mixed up my Celluclay, my paper mache, and as with finger puppets, you're just going to put a thin layer, smoothing it down and covering it all over. And I haven't mixed mine quite as much as I should have, so it's still a little bit dry, but you just have patience. It is a sculpture, so you're going to add it to all the sides, and you're going to keep reassessing your shapes. And then we're going to do our tin foil in a minute, and we're just looking at all the parts, and I do want this to be able to stand, so once I add all the Celluclay, I'm going to try and make it stand. So I'm just going to speed up our videoing so you can see how I'm just covering the entire surfaces from the bottom. I'm switching it around. I'm working from the head through the body right down to the tail until I've got it all covered with a thin layer. Now, if you want to add some extra features like wings or feathers, you could have either done that at the beginning, or you can add another layer of paper mache, which I think I'm going to try. And I'm going to add that just to the sides in a minute to create 2 wing shapes. So this is the little tinfoil cardinal shaped bird I made. I put it on a plate so I can rotate it so you can see. So you can just smooth things out, adjust it, and look at it from all angles. I have the paper and masking tape bird on the plate now so you can see what it looks like. I've put the other bird into a plastic recycled container so I can just set it aside to dry. I actually used the back of a fork to smooth the top of the paper and masking tape bird, which I quite like that effect. So feel free to try different textures and shapes, and we're gonna let them dry and then paint them. Once you have your paper mache, it's all nice and dry, I'm just going to take some paint and I'm going to speed this part up, and I'm just going to be painting my 2 different shapes. So one's like a bluebird and one is going to be a cardinal, and then I'm going to use some markers to decorate my work. finished up my birds with some markers and added extra feathers and details, and I had lots of fun making this paper mache craft. So I hope you had lots of fun making your creatures. And this is Karen W. from Kitchener Public Library. Have a great weekend.